I titled today's conversation Mind Map, Surrendering to Just Existence Itself Equals $1 million. Surrendering to just existence itself equals $1 million. See, a person may think all kinds of things, and they may think that those concepts, whatever kind of concepts they may be, they need to identify with those concepts that suggest they need to do this or that, even if it does not feel right, to manifest that $1 million. They have to force themselves, they have to convince themselves, they have to stress themselves out in order to manifest that $1 million. And what I teach is the flow-based way, as in, your natural way of manifesting $1 million arises by listening to yourself and trusting yourself. And by that I mean the self that is prior to the conditions placed upon consciousness that suggest that you need to do this or that in order to get what you want. Now, one of the conditions I would like to explore with you today is this one called fear of missing out. And while this can be applied in many different contexts, the context that I would like to focus on today is the context of manifesting or actualizing $1 million or $2 million or whatever you'd like. As always, these conversations are built on the foundation of having made many millions of dollars myself as an entrepreneur since 2009. I've been a full-time entrepreneur since 2009. I had an IT business. I built another YouTube channel to success, which is a business. I also got involved with business consulting as a result of building my IT business to success, and then 10 years of corporate IT experience prior to that. And a person may think, wow, I need to have these kinds of credentials. I need to do what Joseph has done in order to get the $1 million. And I can honestly say it is not true. What is true is that which is you prior to all these things. And that is all that you require. That is the real self. And the real self has a natural way of being. And naturally, you have whatever dormant within you, you could say it that way, skills, expertise, that you can translate into products and services that benefit people greatly, and they give you wonderful compensation for it. For me, it happened to be IT. I grew up with computers. That is what I naturally excelled at. I didn't even get an education when it came to computers formally in university. I did not have a computer science degree. To me, computers, very intuitive. I understand them very deeply. I understand technology very deeply. And that got translated into 10 years corporate IT, and that got translated into an IT business. And along the way, business skills, like for example, knowledge and expertise in the areas of innovation, sales, marketing, operations, finance, leadership, I found was also very natural for me. Now, it doesn't mean that you need to know how all these things work. See, you can have partnership deals with people, or you can bring on firms, agencies, etc., that take care of these things for you while you just do what you love to do. I work with many entrepreneurs in consulting that also apply exactly what we're talking about right here, which is just focusing on or doing what they love to do, and then everything else, allowing everything else to be taken care of for them. Which means, naturally what emerges is the opportunities for optimization, automation, delegation, elimination, part or in whole or in combination of the various areas of entrepreneurship. Innovation, sales, marketing, operations, finance, and leadership. They can be free to be as they are. They can surrender any kind of conditions that suggest they need to do this or that in order to manifest that $1 million. And one of them that I facilitate the release of is this condition of fear of missing out. So in this context, fear of missing out involves anxiety or unease about how others might be having more rewarding experiences than you. So you might think that another person or a course or a program or a book has special knowledge that you don't have, even when it doesn't. Now, it does not mean that the book or the course or the program or the consultant or the coach does not have that knowledge or have acquired that knowledge. What it means is that excessively the individual might constantly think that they're missing something, and that could be very troubling. And no shame, no condemnation. That is why we may release this conditioning, so essentially surrender that conditioning to existence itself, which is enough. You are enough, or I can say it even more clearly, you are more than enough. You have everything that you could possibly ever need. And everything that plays a role, the physical assets, the digital assets, the intangible assets, and the relationships, they naturally emerge to be in harmony and in contribution to your vision. Practically speaking, if you see an advertisement or if someone says, I have access to this knowledge or that knowledge, you don't think and you don't emotionally relate in a way where you feel you're missing out. You don't think you're missing out. If there is some knowledge to acquire, if there is some knowledge to be gained, intuitively you will know to move forward with that course. But you won't do it from reactivity to that conditioning. So, one of the ways that I have helped entrepreneurs release this identification, surrender this identification of fear of missing out, including myself, is to acknowledge that infinite opportunities emerge now and always now. See, back in the days when I got involved with technology, not many people were talking about it. And then in 2000, we saw a lot of businesses, a lot of people investing in the internet, .com. You may or may not know about this. It's called the .com bubble. A lot of businesses that didn't make any sense, yet there were investors pouring money into these businesses, and these businesses inevitably failed, and the investors lost their money. That is because of fear of missing out in some situations. I don't know all the situations, but in a lot of those situations, from my research, it was because they thought they were going to miss out on the opportunity, and then they bypassed their critical reasoning, and the next thing you know, it didn't work out. But no shame, no condemnation. They learned from that. And what I get at over here when I speak about this is, if we don't have that conditioning in mind, that fear of missing out conditioning, we'll be able to assess, allow space for clarity to emerge, to assess the opportunity before moving forward with it. And if it's the right opportunity, we move forward with it. So if the individual realizes that there's always opportunities emerging, there are infinite opportunities, infinity opportunities, and they're always emerging around you, then you'll just naturally move forward with the opportunity that feels right, and you'll let the other ones be. And the moving forward with the opportunity that feels right will be from the heart, not fettered by that conditioning. So rather than moving forward with an opportunity based on conditioning and then experiencing disappointment afterwards because you did not listen to your heart and intuition, you listened to that conditioning and you identified with that conditioning, you thought you were that conditioning. Rather than having that kind of experience, what you'll notice is you'll be able to tune in, or you'll naturally move forward with the right opportunities. This is why I say attention naturally appears to go or reveal the opportunities that are always there. They are always there. Sun Tzu, in his wonderful book, Art of War, he said, opportunities multiply as they are seized. Now, you naturally seize the opportunities that are right when there is no conditioning suggesting that you could miss out and you must take this opportunity. Now, we see this all throughout the years. For a while, crypto, NFTs, AI, I can honestly say there's always opportunities. Just because there's whatever emerging opportunity right now that a lot of people are talking about doesn't mean that you must move forward with it. While it is true that it is the right opportunity for some individuals to move forward with and they succeed, it doesn't mean that you need to force yourself to do that thing, whatever that thing is, in order to manifest $1 million. I teach follow your heart and intuition, and everything else is secondary, which is not something that I made up. It's something that I learned from listening to the Steve Jobs commencement speech while I was building my IT business from 2009 to 13. I'd listened to it over and over again. And that was me listening to my heart and intuition, moving forward with starting an IT business, which I built to success. And throughout the years, what happens is, like Sun Tzu said, you're presented with many opportunities. Do you know how many opportunities I get presented with each day, having 400,000 subscribers on my other YouTube channel, and then people buying my book and having exposure to my content on Instagram? So many opportunities, business propositions, etc., etc. Yet, if I was to force myself to move forward with all those opportunities, if I was identified with that condition of fear of missing out, let's say that I would feel very overwhelmed, stressed out, and I would find, because I've been an entrepreneur for many years, that a bunch of those opportunities, I can honestly say most of those opportunities would not work out the way that I thought they would work out upon observation of it at a surface level based on the sales page or the compelling email that they wrote, etc. Why is it that I find that it is easier for me to, via intuition, discern and move forward with the opportunities that bear fruit? People always say, the opportunities that you move forward with, Joseph, they tend to produce results. Like, for example, the school community that I created, it is a profitable initiative. Flow-based prosperity, profitable initiative. My 5 programs, profitable initiative. The consulting deals, the joint venture partnerships, etc., the things that I've done have been profitable. And back in the days, there were less profitable initiatives that I moved forward with, and not to say that they did not provide learning experiences. They certainly did. But why is it that now I move forward more likely with profitable initiatives, investments, etc.? Because of exactly what I'm talking about right now. You already have the knowledge, wisdom, expertise, and the inner knowing to move forward with that which feels right. And I found that that produces results. And yes, you naturally seize those opportunities. If you get advertisements or if people make propositions to you, what about this, what about that? You can tune into what feels right. It doesn't mean that that opportunity that they're presenting is a lousy opportunity. That opportunity is for somebody else. My opportunities are my opportunities. What is yours can never be taken away from you. Those opportunities may be for someone else, and that's completely fine. So let's go through some examples of just, sometimes a person may say, what do you mean, Joseph? There's infinity opportunities everywhere. What are you talking about? I see this limitation. I see that lack. I see this obstacle. I see that roadblock. And I can honestly say you see that based on conditioning. That conditioning distorts reality. That conditioning suggests that there's only a limited scope of options in that direction. Yet I can honestly say there are infinity ways of innovation, sales, marketing, operations, finance, leadership, optimization, delegation, elimination, or in part or in whole or in combination to grow the business. There are infinity ways of prospecting, lead generation, client acquisition, ongoing business with existing clients to increase your revenues. And it doesn't mean you have to force yourself to make more money. I teach generate a lavish, steady, dependable income consistent with integrity and mutual benefit in a way that feels right for you, and also the exact amount that you would like to make so you could live the kind of life that you desire to live. And it doesn't necessarily require a lot of money. For example, from 2013, when I transitioned from my IT business, till around 2018, I was traveling and living all over the place. I lived in Austria, I was in Mexico, I was in California, and I was traveling. And I was staying in wonderful, beautiful places that had views that looked like a painting. I drove wonderful cars and had all these kinds of experiences, and it didn't require a lot of money because I factored it into the consulting deals, and I was incurring business expenses which were completely legitimate that allowed me to have these kinds of experiences as well. So the answer is it depends. You don't need a lot of money to have a wonderful lifestyle. Yes, I still encourage making a lavish, steady, dependable income so that you can enjoy that money, and also you can put some money aside, if not a lot of that aside, and then invest it so that that is getting you compounding returns from your investment. Not make a lot of money and then spend all the money and more. There are those that make a lot of money and spend a lot of money. And there are even those that look like they're making a lot of money because they're incurring debt or they're renting out a lot of things. But if you look at their finances, and no shame, no condemnation, it does not necessarily reflect what we might think they're making. And that's completely fine. That's the kind of stuff that the conditioning, the fear of missing out conditioning, distorts reality to look at without looking deeper than the surface level. I trust you know exactly what I'm talking about here. I even on this channel put together a spreadsheet which will allow you to plan for retirement if you ever want to retire, or more specifically, what net worth you would like to have. Because then what will happen is then you can choose if you want to continue with doing business or not. You can just not do business anymore. After you get to a point where from making that lavish, steady, dependable income, you put money aside, that gets invested, that grows. And from the dividends, from the return on investment, you could walk away from your business. You could sell your business if you want. And then you can, continue to do whatever. And some continue to be entrepreneurs because that is who they are. Some people generate a lavish, steady, dependable income through entrepreneurship. Some people generate a lavish, steady, dependable income through a successful career. Your way is the best way. Now, to get back to our objective today, which is to release identification to this fear of missing out based condition so that you can be as you are, thus surrendering this condition to existence itself and have that reflect as $1 million. Let's look at how these opportunities can emerge and why we do this, why we talk about various ways these opportunities can emerge, is so that we can shatter that paradigm, shatter that condition that suggests, no, it can only appear this way or that way through a limited scope. And if I don't move forward with whatever initiative, whatever advertisement, whatever product or service or whatever, even if it doesn't feel right, then I will miss out, which is not true. You don't miss out. So, I like to focus on 4 areas when I consult in business, growing businesses, etc., when it comes to the revenue enhancing side. Now, even higher than that, it's really innovation, sales, and marketing. Yet, when I do have the innovation, and even if I'm looking to come up with new innovation, new products and services, What I value is the conversations that I have with people so that I can create products and services. Because through the conversations, you come up with ideas, viable ideas, not some theoretical conjecture that, although it sounds nice, doesn't actually work. What we're interested is viable ideas that can actually produce the results. So through the conversations in prospecting, while generating leads, conversations during client acquisition or sales presentation, and also the engaging with our existing clients, the ongoing relationships with our existing clients, we come up with additional ideas for products and services. And we see that opportunities emerge in those areas. Now, there are infinity ways a person may think, okay, I got a product or service, or I got some ideas for products and services, but now I need to go out there and acquire more knowledge, wisdom, expertise in order to prospect, in order to generate leads, in order to acquire clients, in order to do ongoing business with existing clients, what I talk about here. If you do have clients and you would like to acquire more business from that clients in a mutually beneficial way, I need more education, more knowledge, more this, more that. Is that true? Is that true? It may be true. If you check in with yourself, you may find that it's not true and that you already have. What are some of the ways that prospecting, lead generation, client acquisition, ongoing business with existing clients can happen naturally and effortlessly just by doing what you love to do, and thus surrendering the conditions, being in flow essentially, which then manifests as these opportunities which are naturally seized and then multiply as they're seized? Well, in prospecting, you can attend live networking events or mastermind meetups. So if you genuinely love attending networking events and mastermind meetups, now you can allow yourself to do what you love to do. You don't need to put on a persona or fake it, because you naturally love to do it. Now, I'm not saying you should or you must force yourself to do it, because if you don't force yourself to do it, you're going to miss out on opportunities. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying any one of these can be where the opportunities are. Number 2, engage in meaningful conversations at cafes, co-working spaces, or gyms. Number 3, commit meaningfully on posts if you're part of school communities, if you're part of Facebook communities, etc. That is how you build relationships. And these relationships can turn into clients. These relationships can turn into referral partners. These relationships can turn into them referring business to you. Maybe they know someone that could benefit from you greatly, which is just a natural thing to do. None of this stuff is force-based, sophisticated. It's just a natural way of being. You see this. This is how we naturally are as human beings. It's just being you. And what happens is you form a relationship, people benefit greatly, and they refer business to you. You can join online communities and contribute. That person may think, well, I can't join online communities because I feel that people don't relate to me. Well, there are online communities where people relate to you. Those are the online communities where you feel at home. And again, it's just that conditioning that suggests otherwise. Now, again, as I say these things, a person may think, okay, in order for the business to succeed, I have to do all these things that Joseph is saying. Absolutely not. Just one of these things can be enormously beneficial and can grow your business to tremendous success. How do I know? From personal experience. In 2009 or 10 or something like that, I don't remember right now, I joined an entrepreneurial online group and it was a Facebook group, and messaged the owner of the group to meet up for coffee. We met up for coffee. We set up a referral deal. He can refer business to me and I'll give him a cut out of it. I can refer business to him and he can get a cut out of it. And then he referred me to a steel company who gave me so much work, IT work, that I had to hire my first contractor. And then the accountant that was there saw the work that we were doing, and she really liked how we were going about doing it. And what happened is she asked us if we were interested in providing IT services for her office, which we did. And then upon providing those IT services where she benefited greatly, we had wonderful compensation, she started referring all kinds of clients to us. So again, opportunities multiply as they're seized, and it didn't require me to get additional training, specialized training. And again, not to put that down. If it's required, it shows up when it feels right. As a result of not identifying with the fear of missing out conditioning, the opportunities naturally emerge. You move forward with them effortlessly, path of least resistance. Everything is in harmony in relation to your vision. As I always say, the physical assets, the digital assets, the intangible assets, the relationships spontaneously and naturally emerge in flow, and you naturally move forward with them, and they naturally multiply as they're seized in a flow-based way. It just doesn't appear this way through the conditioning, the force-based conditioning. So attending retreats or workshops where your ideal clients gather, and not in a force-based way. You just go there and hang out. I can tell you, I've been to so many events where I acquired clients just by going there and hanging out and having conversations, removing the pressure of, I need to go there to prospect. Prospecting is the natural result of what happens when you do what you love to do in places where people that would be your ideal clients reside. That's a simple way of looking at it. Effortless, fun, joyous, flow-based. And you don't need to go to these places because you're missing out. Because then what happens if the individual has this fear of missing out energy, they go there and then they can start acting desperate rather than manifesting that real self-confidence. Speaking about real self-confidence, that is the result. Real self-confidence is the result of that real self-knowledge. Knowing that you are prior to these conditions, the natural fragrance of that is real self-confidence. If you're interested, I created a program in my school community called the Real Self-Fulfilling Study. And if you're interested in that, I'll link in the description. It's a 7-week program that we're going through. We're building the course as we go along. And it's all about that real self-knowledge, prior to all these things. Having that real self-knowledge, it manifests as all these things. That real self-knowledge is that existence, consciousness, bliss. So if you're interested in that, I'll link in the description to the school community. Reconnecting with old contacts from previous work or school, hosting up a small in-person meetup or roundtable. None of these are stress-based. None of these are force-based. They're actually so simply obvious that the person maybe who's identified with fear of missing out is looking for sophisticated get-rich-quick schemes or tactics or techniques. And although on the surface they sound good, when the individual, and I've talked to many of them, and I've done them myself as well, they might not necessarily, a lot of times actually, I say, they don't necessarily work out according to plan because the individual was not doing what they know is right. They were forcing themselves to move forward with something that didn't feel right. It was just that conditioning that they were identifying with that was resulting in a knee-jerk response to move forward with it. They allowed that conditioning to be triggered, and no shame, no condemnation. That triggering is happening in mind. Yet when that triggering is happening, you can no longer identify with that trigger, and then allow space for the right answer to merge. And then you know. The question may be, is it best to move forward with this, or is it best not to move forward with this? The answer is depends, and you know the way. Second is lead generation. Publish YouTube videos that lead naturally to your offers. That's all I did. How did I grow my YouTube channel, the other one, to 400,000 subscribers? By consistently posting videos talking about what I genuinely was interested in talking about, that people were genuinely interested in watching. People are interested in watching those videos. People are interested in watching all kinds of videos on YouTube. Doesn't mean I'm going to force myself, again, to make particular videos just because somebody is in a different niche and they're making a lot of money making those videos. Because how sustainable is that? For me personally, I only like to do what I love to do. I only love to do what I love to do. And I don't do anything else. Those other things, maybe they love to do it, that's fine. Because if I force myself to do something I don't love to do, then every day I got to show up and do this thing that I don't love to do. I love to make these videos, so I make these videos. And I love talking about what I like talking about, so I make these videos. And I like talking about it in a way that I like to talk about it through the mind mapping, etc. And then because I love doing all these things, I consistently show up and make these videos what happens is the views rack up, the subscribers rack up, more people join your email list and become clients, and the business grows just through the consistency. And that could sound like a lot of force. Consistency. Do you force yourself to consistently breathe? To me, this is like breathing naturally. And I don't identify with fear of missing out in relation to, okay, somebody's doing something else or talking about this other subject. If you talk about this other subject, you'll make way more money. No. The opportunities that I have right now are enough, and I move forward with them. So these are just some examples. Collaborating with other creators, offering a downloadable guide, checklist, or template, share case studies or testimonials, optimize your website with clear lead capture, partner with affiliates or referral partners to share your offers, appear in podcasts. Maybe you prefer lead generation. Maybe prospecting is not for you, or maybe a ratio of prospecting and a ratio of lead generation. Lead generation is setting up things in a way, videos, opt-in pages, etc., ads, so that what happens, it draws people in. And you could do both. I personally like a combination of both. As mentioned, I did prospecting more so in my IT business and also in my consulting practice. But then when my YouTube channel started to grow, it was more lead generation. And I still do some prospecting, not as much. Yet, I'm not opposed to doing it. And if I do prospecting, I will do it in a way that is natural, effortless, and I won't get distracted by some shiny objects that show up because I had dropped that conditioning. That's one of the benefits of deconditioning the subconscious mind. To release identification through that conditioning, what happens is the real self naturally shines forth as all these things your way, which is the best way, which is why I created that real self knowledge course, because I feel that that real self knowledge is not taught in schools, for whatever the reason may be, is not taught a lot. What is taught is knowledge based on people's experience, which can be helpful. But prior to that, real self knowledge is key so that you can discern from the vast sea of knowledge available on the internet which information feels right for you to move forward with. And you naturally move forward with it. You automatically move forward with it without that conditioning. That is flow. So client acquisition is the sales presentation, the in-person one-on-one sessions, the sales calls, etc. Conduct exploratory conversations via Zoom or in person. Host discovery calls after free training or lead magnets. Send personalized follow-up emails after webinars. Use DM-based conversational enrollment. Provide audit sessions. This is something that I used to do in consulting. Audit their website, audit their business model. Present a live event and offer next steps at the end. Invite aligned prospects in your community, into your community or membership. Create a try before you join experiences, free coaching, demo, etc. Now, as I say these things, again, to emphasize, it doesn't mean you have to do these things. I'm saying these things to show you just some of the infinite options that are available. And maybe some of these, as I communicated them to you, they feel right. Or even if one of them feels right, that could be enough. And you just move forward with the one you naturally feel aligned with. That is flow. And that's where you experience flow with. And I found that those tend to produce results. And then a whole bunch of other opportunities naturally emerge. And Sun Tzu said it, opportunities multiply as they're seized. So rather than forcing yourself to try to seize all these kinds of opportunities, which is based on conditioning, allow yourself to naturally move forward with the opportunities that feel right, and then witness the opportunities that multiply as they are seized, and you just remain in flow, multiplying the opportunities, and thus everything you touch turns to gold. The next is ongoing business with existing clients. I mentioned this. One of the ways that I've seen my business succeed, and many businesses succeed, is by valuing the relationships you have with existing clients, as they already have that relationship with you. They benefited greatly from your products and services, and thus they have that like and trust, and they're more likely then to take you up on additional offers. You see how all this stuff is natural? Surrendering to just existence itself. This is just keeping it real. That's all this is. This is really just keeping it real, being real, not identifying with all these illusory conditions, and the natural manifestation or the reflection of that is the hundreds, thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, etc. It can only not appear this way through identification with stress force-based programming or conditioning in the subconscious mind, which is why I teach just dissolve that conditioning. And the natural way emerges, the real self emerges as all these wonderful things. Your way, which is the best way, and it may or may not be some of these things we're talking about. So ongoing business with existing clients, offer continuation or renewal programs, host retreats exclusively for past clients, provide VIP or personalized upgrade experiences, offer additional done-for-you or done-with-you services, invite clients to referral or affiliate partnerships, launch a community or membership for ongoing support, offer private, intensive, or deep dive days, create joint ventures with your successful clients, feature them in case studies or interviews, which I have done myself, both joint ventures and also case studies, offer consulting retainers or maintenance packages, cross-promote other trusted professionals or tools for referral fees, celebrate client milestones publicly, creating natural re-engagement. Now, some of these, actually, I would personally feel none of them are force-based. That's why I put them on here. But that's because I don't have conditioning that can suggest that it is force-based. And that's another one of the benefits of releasing the conditioning, like, for example, fear of missing out, is all these opportunities don't feel force-based, but even if they don't feel force-based, it doesn't mean you have to move forward with all of them. You just choose the one naturally that feels like the most fun. I mean, seriously, that's what I do. So I trust you found this video to be helpful. If you would like a copy of this mind map, the link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk with you soon. Take care.